Hello, Homestead. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence.
Hello, Homestead. It's Friday, August 31st, and time for today's episode of HHS In Depth. I'm Jessica Walter.
And I'm Derek Hockemeyer.
Stories featured on today's show include a pilot from Dr. Guskey Mastery Learning Method that some teachers are using in the class this year by reporter Kaylee Behrens.
Reporter Mac Butts introduces you to a few of the building's new teachers in her first of her series over this year's new faculty to Homestead.
You'll learn about how you can visit another country and improve your Spanish at the same time in a report by Ashton Hackman.
You'll see a recap of Mr. Jaeger's and Mrs. Merkling's trip out west with students over summer break in a report from Ellie Davis.
And in sports, Carson Clymer is in with the first edition of The Countdown, where you'll get to meet the girls' soccer team.
We'll bring you all these stories and more.
So stay tuned for today's episode of HHS In Depth.
I told you I can't make it slip. Jim, can you record the talk back? Record that, Jim. Bet.
We begin today's show with a story over a teaching method a few teachers in the building are piloting this year, Mastery Learning by Dr. Guskey. Here's reporter Kaylee Behrens to tell you what it's all about.
You may have heard about the Guskey program that Homestead is putting in place this year in some of your classes. But what is this program and why are we using it?
The students that are involved in the Guskey Mastery Learning Program is an assessment and learning practice where students are given multiple opportunities to show mastery, to show learning. There are lots of things that we were already doing. A number of you will think through what your teachers are doing with formative assessment, giving you opportunities to show your learning through a SWIC, a show what you know. So this is just kind of the next logical piece in that process. And over time, we think our students will benefit from this from a learning standpoint, that they're going to pick up material differently and better, be able to show their learning better, and that's the key to it.
Many teachers are using the Guskey program in different ways that fit their classes best.
I am using it in both my Bio 1 and Bio 2 classes, and basically when we get ready to take an assessment, we do a checkpoint A, and students receive the results, and if they receive mastery level, then they go on and do an enrichment project, or sometimes just a shorter assignment, while the students who don't hit the mastery level do correctives. And then we will take the assessment again, and we call that checkpoint B.
In my Bio 2 program, we took a checkpoint test. Some of those students, if they received an 85 or higher, are going to actually be redesigning a lab that we did in the first unit, whereas students who scored an 85 or lower are going to start doing some corrective work.
The teachers and staff believe that this program will help the students learn better and be better students overall.
I think anything that we do like this, there's a growing process. So the mastery learning things that our teachers and staff are learning about through Dr. Guskey and Dr. Link will take some time. So where this will land us in 5 years, I'm not quite sure. But I do think it's going to impact the way we teach and learn here at Homestead High School.
I think it will give students more of a sense of success. In the past, it's just you review and you take your quiz and you're done with it and you move on. In this method, you kind of get your idea of what you do and don't know, and so maybe you don't do great the first time, or even if you do meet whatever percentage your teacher decides. The second time through it, you do better. So, the more success you can feel,
I think it will hopefully help students learn how to learn a little bit better. I think when they see how the process plays out and see that when they make a mistake and they have some time to go back and revisit their resources and have even one-on-one access with their teacher to improve their understanding, that I think it will hopefully eventually lead them to be able to prepare better the first time, so they'll get a better feel for how to prepare for those assessments.
The Guskey program is new to Homestead this year, but will stay here for years to come. For HHS In Depth, I'm Kaylee Behrens.
There will be a call-out meeting for women in business for future club plans on Tuesday, September 4th in Mrs. Hershey's room, room 514 before school. New members are welcome and there will be food and drinks provided.
Due to the Labor Day holiday, Homestead's Creative Writing Club, a novel gathering, will have their first gathering of the year on Monday, September 10th, after school in the library. Mark your calendars, creative writers.
Juniors and seniors, the following colleges will be visiting Homestead. If you would like to attend one or more of the visits, you must sign up in Student Services at least one day prior to the meeting. Wednesday, September 5th, Wabash College, IUPUI, Holy Cross College, and Anderson University. Thursday, September 6th, Hillsdale College. Friday, September 7th, University of Denver, and Monday, September 10th, Purdue, Butler, and IU Fort Wayne.
There will be a brief boys basketball meeting on Wednesday, September 5th in room 902 at 2:40 for anyone interested in trying out for the boys basketball team who is not currently in a fall sport.
And now here's a story on some of the newest faculty members at Homestead. Reporter Mac Butz is in with her first installment of getting to know Homestead's newest teachers.
With the start of a new year at Homestead comes the arrival of new teachers and staff. In the first installment of the series, you will meet new teachers from the business, math, and English departments.
My name is Eric Sherrill. I taught 9 years at foreign community schools. Last 4 have been at Snyder. I teach strategic marketing, computer science, and digital labs.
I'm Mrs. Line. I teach Algebra 1 and 2. This is my 9th year teaching.
My name is Emily Ford. I came most recently from Ivy Tech. This is my 19th year teaching English. So I taught English 111, English 112 at Ivy Tech, and now here I'm teaching freshman and sophomore English.
These new teachers have come from many different backgrounds and places and have many different interests and hobbies.
I recently moved down to Indiana this July. I've been in California for the last 32 years, and my last school was South High School. I'm a mother of 2. I have 2 boys, a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. I like to go hiking a lot. My husband and I, we've hiked a lot of different mountains. One of the coolest ones I've ever done was Mount Whitney. It's the tallest mountain in the continental U.S. It's over 14,000 feet. I will never do that again.
I'm an avid baseball guy. I just have a newborn, my 3rd child, baby girl, and I love Chicago sports, so go White Sox.
I have 2 children. I have a 3rd grader, she's a 3rd grader at Aboit, and I have a kindergartner who just started a couple weeks ago. My hobby is I enjoy kind of puttering around in the garden. I'm not very good at it, but it's fun either way. I enjoy cooking, reading, of course. That's a given.
The new staff has already taken a liking to our school and is now calling Homestead home.
So far, I would say I would enjoy how clean and bright and nice everybody is.
I really enjoy the students a lot. I've never seen a culture of students that were so respectful. I actually, on the first day, had gotten a couple of students that would say thank you just for introducing myself and talking about class procedures. So I thought that was really nice to be able to get some appreciation just from that, day 1. So it's felt like really appreciation, and the teachers have felt like a family. They really are nice and accommodating. They're willing to share anything and offer to come over for dinner at their homes. I've never had that before, so it's nice.
I've met some really cool people at Homestead. Some of the other English teachers have been really great, been really helpful. Lots of the administrators have stepped in and helped, and so I've really been impressed with the rest of the teachers so far.
If you have any of these teachers or see them in the hallways, be sure to welcome them to Homestead. Stay tuned for future episodes for the next installment of the new teacher series. For HHS In Depth, I'm Mackenzie Butz.
Students, today at lunch you can pick up your pre-ordered student section t-shirt. If you ordered one at registration, stop by the concession stand just outside the cafeteria to pick yours up during all lunch mods. Today is the final day to pick it up for another month.
A series of competitions to define Homestead's Elita Spartans: tug of war, egg toss, water bucket relay, three-legged race, wheelbarrow race, and an obstacle course. The top team from each grade will face against each other at the homecoming pep session to define who the best Spartans are. The event is September 19th with team check-in at 5:45. Teams consist of 5 boys and 5 girls from the same grade, and the team packets are due September 7th to Mrs. Moss in room 725.
Politically inclined, behind on current events, or just hungry? Join Young Progressives for their first meeting of the school year after school today from 2:45 to 3:30 in Mrs. Smith's room, room 614. All are welcome.
Young Americans for Freedom, YAF, will have their first meeting of the year on Tuesday, September 4th from 2:45 to 3:30 in Mr. Biles' room, room 718. There will be food and they will talk about current events and politics. If you have any questions, please email Benjamin Vandenberg at his school email.
Do you like dice rolling, adventures, and hanging out with friends? Get out to the Dungeons and Dragons Club next week, Thursday and Friday, September 6th and 7th in the cafeteria annex.
And now here is reporter Ashton Hackman with a story on how Homestead Spanish students can travel to a foreign country to learn about its culture and improve their Spanish speaking skills at the same time.
Summer 2019 will be one for the memory books for Spanish students who have the unique opportunity to travel to Ecuador and display their Spanish speaking abilities.
Yeah, we're going to be in Ecuador for 9 days in June, from June 12th to June 20th, and some of the highlights of the trip include a salsa dancing lesson, going to take a Spanish class with some native speakers, we're going to take a walking tour through the city of Quito, going to take a ski lift ride up to one of the volcanoes that is in Quito from an elevation of about 10,000 feet up to 13,000 feet. We're going to explore waterfalls, do some hiking around a lake, take a butt ride on the lake, explore some more waterfalls in a city called Baños, and we're also going to visit a school where the students will have a chance to interact with some of the students at a school in Ecuador. So those are some of the highlights of what we're going to do while we're gone on the trip next summer.
Students who are going on the trip are excited about the upcoming adventure and encourage other Spanish students to take advantage of this exciting opportunity.
I'm a senior in Senor Peeper's Spanish 5 class. I'm super excited to be with my friends in a different country and get to explore new places. Yes, I would recommend this trip to other Spanish students because I want to improve my Spanish to hopefully a point where I'm almost fluent and to get to eat food from actual Spanish-speaking countries.
With few spots remaining, Senior Peeper stresses the importance of signing up now as prices vary for everyone.
It kind of depends on when they sign up and if they've traveled with us before or not, so there may be some fluctuation in there, but the cost of the trip is about $3,000.
If you're interested in learning more about the trip, attend the informational meeting Thursday, September 6th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. in Senior Peeper's room. For HHS In Depth, I'm Ashton Ackman.
If you like joking around, acting, or just plain having fun, you'll love Improv Club. Go to room 904 on Monday, September 10th to see what Improv Club is all about.
Spring sports participants, tournament patches have arrived. Please stop by the athletic office as soon as possible to pick up any patches you may have earned either as an individual or as part of a team. Graduated students will be receiving theirs in the mail.
Next Wednesday, get out to the Audio Aficionados. They'll meet right after school in room 600B. Everyone is welcome to attend this music listening club. Next week, they'll be listening to the Grateful Dead.
Over the summer, Homestead students took part in a trip out west with Mr. Jaeger and Mrs. Merkling. Reporter Ellie Davis brings you a story on the recap of that trip.
This past summer, a group of Homestead students from the science department took part in a trip across the western United States to see some of the nation's environmental wonders.
The purpose of the trip was really to extend the learning that the students had in class and the concepts that they dealt with in class, and for them to actually go out and see them in the actual world. I think that was really successful. I was very impressed with Mrs. Merkling's students because I would only hope that my students would go out and be able to talk about the things they learned in class the way that I watched the students do throughout this trip. It was really a very cool experience for me to see students actually applying the things that they'd learned.
While getting first-hand experience, the students were able to apply the material they learned in the classroom and get a better understanding of it.
The concepts that we discuss in class are absolutely applied throughout the trip. It is actually my very favorite part, being able to have students see something along the trip and then have that spark a memory of what we've talked about in class, and then we're able to discuss that further, and I have proud teacher moments all along the way, and the students are excited. It's just really neat to be able to see a lot of those concepts and topics applied throughout the trip itself. It's just a really neat experience of real application of what we talk about in school and how that applies to the natural world.
The concepts we learned in class were really relevant to the trip. We toured a smoke jumper school, which was really cool, and we just got to talk about a lot of different things, and it brought back a lot of the stuff that we learned in class.
With many different activities going on, each person left with a different favorite memory.
The highlight that really sticks out to me is when we went to Glacier National Park. Since I was in the 8th grade and my social studies teacher told me that I could see domestic glaciers, I have put it at the top of my to-do list. So I was able to partake in an 18-year bucket list experience and that I've had through my life.
I think my favorite part was the rodeo on the last day. It was just fun. It was like a little carnival. Like we rode some of the festival rides and saw some bull riding and everything. It was really fun.
If you are interested in being part of the next environmental trip, contact Mrs. Merkling or visit room 206. For HHS In Depth, I'm Ellie Davis.
And now introducing our new weathermen. Here's Alex Peters and Ethan Turner with a look at this weekend's weather forecast in their new segment called 2.5 Weathermen.
Hey there, Homestead, and welcome to this year's very first 2.5 Weathermen. I'm Alex Peters.
And I'm Ethan Turner, and we'll be your weathermen for the next semester or two. But first, we'd like to have a moment of silence for our fallen weathermen. All right, that's enough silence.
Well, with that out of the way, let's just jump into it.
Starting off this long Labor Day weekend, Friday is going to be a great start to this weekend, being mostly sunny with a high of 80 and a low of 65.
Saturday morning is looking fine with a high of 83, but Saturday evening will be full of scattered thunderstorms with a low of 68 degrees.
Sunday will turn out quite similar to Saturday, with scattered thunderstorms throughout the entire day and a high of 83 and a low of 65.
Finally, you're not going to be going outside much on your first day off of the school year with scattered thunderstorms all day with a high of 83 and a low of 65.
Well, Homestead, that's it for the first edition of 2.5 Weathermen. I'm Ethan Turner.
And I'm Alex Peters. Make sure to tune in next week.
And now it's time for the first episode of The Countdown with Carson Clymer. This week, you'll meet our Homestead girls soccer team.
Hello, Homestead. Welcome into the first edition of The Countdown. I'm Carson Clymer, and this week we are going to get the ball rolling with the girls soccer team and their hot start this year.
The girls soccer team is off to an undefeated start this year, and they have excelled in the preseason as well as the regular season, earning a number 5 ranking in the state.
Before season, we scrimmaged Penn, and they're the 2-time defending state champions, and we beat them 4-2 for the first time in a few years.
This season's been going pretty good. We are on a winning streak. We've played 5 games, won them all. High scoring, only had 1 goal against us so far.
The team has high hopes for the remainder of their season, including a run for the state championship.
To make it to state or conquer state, that would be really awesome. But overall, just really show our best in every single game that we play. I think that's really important. Well, obviously our number 1 goal is to make it to state. This weekend we're going to play Northridge, so that's going to be a really big win for us if we were able to pull that out.
Along with high hopes for the team, the girls have specific goals for themselves.
Personally, I'd like to get better at trapping the ball out of the air, making sure my speed of play is up.
Finishing in the final third is really important. I think it could really help the team out if I get better at that.
There's an unconventional rule within the team that Coach Link sets upon the team early on.
During the season, there are no boys, according to Coach Link, no boyfriends until October 28th.
Funniest moment of the season is usually always when Link tries to scare us and tells us to get rid of our boyfriends and like no boys allowed because he just wants us to focus.
Good luck to the soccer team as they take on Northridge tomorrow morning here at Homestead.
That's all for this edition of The Countdown. Make sure to make it out tonight to the football game at Lures. Also, good luck to other sports teams in action, including the girls cross country team at Marion, boys cross country team in Terre Haute, boys tennis and boys soccer at Carroll, and volleyball is at Warsaw. I'm Carson Clymer, and be sure to catch me back here next week for an all-new edition of The Countdown.
Well, that wraps up this edition of HHS In Depth. I'm Jessica Walter.
And I'm Derek Hockemeyer. Thank you for watching today.
Today we leave you with a song exclusive to our radio station, The Point 91 FM.
Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.
star.